Hello, hello. How's it going? Definitely. I'm trying to make sure I hear you guys completely. Welcome. We're here at the Billo Summit, guys. Glad to be here. Definitely just glad to talk with you guys today. I love the collaborative process and just meeting with creators. But before we get started into the presentation, definitely just want to do this little exercise, a little bit of an icebreaker because, guys, I don't want to bore nobody. I don't want to bore anybody because I don't like being bored. And when I'm bored in a webinar, I kind of do jumping jacks in the corner somewhere. So we're going to do this little exercise real quick. So what I want you guys to do is put your hands up like this for me and wave your fingers. I want everybody to do this, including the Billo team. Go ahead and wave those fingers for me. Now put those fingers together for me. And what I want you to do after that is go ahead and spread them out and then do a little shimmy. Yeah, guys, there was just a little icebreaker for you guys. Like I said, I plan to have fun. It's going to be lit because I want to talk with you guys about some stuff, guys. Like I said, I love the collaborative process, and I think overall, I'm going to put my glasses on, and hopefully, you guys will enjoy what I put together for you. So, overall, this is my story. I am an independent filmmaker by night, but at the end of the day, I got to pay the bills, right? So my full-time role is being a content creator. That's what I do full-time. I've been doing this now for about 3.5 years, give or take, so to speak, overall. And this is my educational background. I have my bachelor's in media communications, a bachelor's of science from Full Sail University, and I'm actually now working on my master's degree in digital marketing, which is actually funny because I'm actually literally 2 weeks to this day, 2 weeks from now, I'm actually going to be graduating from Full Sail. And I am looking forward to that day, So, hey, matter of fact, I see in the chat, I see some of the chat. I don't see everything, so forgive me if you're saying something to me and I'm not responding. It's because I don't see all of the chat right now, but I do see, some of my Full Sail fam here. FS Nation, what's up, fam? I see a couple of you guys here. I want to thank you guys for coming and showing your love and your support, as you guys have been a great family to me. And overall, a lot of what I'm going to share today genuinely comes from the collaborative process with my Full Sail fam. Because if you're a brand, the challenge that kind of exists from the brand's perspective is being able to find a creator or creators that can tell the story of the products or services of your brand, right? Because not every collaboration fits. And from the creator perspective, one of the challenges that exists is having the ability to, meet a brand and first of all be allowed to tell the story and then tell the story effectively the way the brand would like for it to be told. So I have an interesting perspective that I want to share with you guys to kind of bring both parties towards the middle. To kind of share with you guys, these are some of the brands that I worked with. Now, bear in mind this is before Billo, because once Billo came into the picture, I've picked up a lot of hundreds of brands, and that's not a rough estimate. It really is. I've done over now 430 some odd videos on Billo. But just to name off a few brands that I worked with, Verbo, Energizer, UberEats. What's funny is, so I'm looking at Sprint now. So Sprint, I actually did a contract with them 10 and a half years ago. And it's funny because 10 years ago, what we know as content creation today, well, at that once upon a time was called digital media specialist or something, So literally, it's amazing. I tell you that because it's amazing on how that was not that long ago. That was 10 and a half years ago. It shows how fast this industry changes altogether. So overall, this is my story. I've looked at a lot of my experiences collaborating with the brands that I just showed you and with some of the brands that I worked with, on the small business level. And I come up with these 7 principles. What I believe is what creates the ultimate collaboration. If I had a little bit of a echo or something to give me some sound effects, I would add a little bit of an echo to the collaboration part, so it would be like the ultimate collaboration, ration. Yeah, so guys, these 7 principles are things that are like I said, coming from my experiences. But I believe that these are things that just cannot be ignored, you know? So brands, I hope you guys listen closely to this, and creators, I hope you guys listen closely to this, because I think this is going to help both parties all together. Like I said, it's more for brands and creators, but I think it's going to kind of be great for both parties. So the first principle is own the challenges. So I say this because, so like I showed you guys my list of brands, right? And those were national brands: Sprints, UberEats, GrubHub, all of that. These are brands where I was dealing with chief marketing officers, with marketing teams, communications teams. These are bigger brands. So on the small business level, I like to tell people, when you're working on contracts for small businesses, it's a lot more intimate, right? Because it's not like there's a lot of capital in the world, right, to test effectively all the time and win effectively all the time. I get it. Most of the small business owners that I worked with are all trying to make sure that they optimize everything, because everything is on the line. And I get that. But with that being stated, you have to understand, hey, as a business owner, as a brand owner, hey, these challenges are present, and you have to somehow or another find the answers to solve these problems. And I just kind of pulled up a couple of information, some statistics here to let you guys know, something about the landscape that we live in with e-commerce. So impressions are rising, but the social ads and click-through rate are declining. So what does that mean? So that means that impressions is the amount of time somebody sees your ad, or your content for that matter, online. And that number is rising. People are seeing it more and more because the platforms and the algorithms of the platforms has made it where it's starting to become a little bit more present than before. But here's the deal. Statista.com had done the research and realized that people aren't clicking as much as they used to. And what's funny, while I was working on this presentation, one of my friends, I was talking with her, she was telling me that she hates ads. And so she doesn't know it, and I think she's probably in the chat now, but she doesn't know it. I was just kind of doing a little mental digital marketing research with her. So I asked her, why does she hate ads? And she just went down through the list of, it interrupts my, my entertainment. It's sometimes it's not even relevant to what I enjoy. And I asked these questions because I just wanted to know, hey, to hear another perspective, so I'm telling you, as a brand owner, you got to think, Billo, the purpose of Billo is to create ads and content for, your potential and current consumers. But you got to take the reality to the fact that not everybody likes to be interrupted by an ad. Not everybody likes to see the ads. So what does that mean? We have to make sure that when we're making our content, we're optimizing it to really be meaningful and valuable. That's the reality of it. It's not that the click-through rates doesn't exist at all. The statistics don't show that people aren't clicking. It's just showing that when people are clicking, they're clicking because they have a reason. So literally, I put in the next point, you got to A/B test a lot of stuff these days. Billo has a great opportunity where you can, make multiple videos, at bundle pricing. And I'm not pushing Billo, as a sales perspective, but I'm saying, when it comes to the content, really, you're going to have to be at a point where you're really testing multiple things. The average conversion rate for e-commerce, is less than 2%. So literally, that means that, the numbers are every 1 in 51 people, one person made a purchase. So these are some of the current things, and there's other things too that you may know of as a brand owner that could be challenging, right? It could be challenging because, like I mentioned earlier, capital could be challenging. It could be challenging for you to be the business owner, be the inventory manager, be all of this. But, when you bring a creator into the picture, sometimes I could tell you from the creator's perspective, sometimes the brands have the mindset that the creators are going to solve a lot of problems. And the reality is we can solve some problems through our content, but we can't solve them all. So it's going to, be some challenges even with us in the picture. And I believe with any collaboration that exists, matter of fact, there's a study that shows that a lot of times some relationships fail because they don't understand the challenges involved or understand the backgrounds involved. I believe a good relationship, I believe a good collaboration, first of all, has to be starting off with both parties understanding that there's going to be some things that they're going to have to face and overcome together. So that's the first part. I'm trying to be good on my time here because I don't have all the time in the world here, guys. So here we go. So this is the next point. Seek out driven people. So this is a picture here of Steven Spielberg and John Williams. And why do I use this example? Because first of all, I'm a filmmaker, you know. So, but at the same time, you know, this is a good example that I think a brand and a creator needs to think about. You know, so when Steven Spielberg came into the game, he was a young director, and overall, he didn't know anybody. And the first film that he put out was Jaws, and that film ended up becoming a blockbuster history making film. But the guy next to him, John Williams, was the guy that wrote the score. Now, this quote here is something that I think brands need to think about too when they're trying to find people like creators to come into their fold and make a difference. You know, the relationship between Steven and John, according to John, was very compatible because of some of the dissimilarities. Literally, you know, you could connect with people sometimes that may not necessarily be similar completely to you, but if they're driven, then there's going to be something really powerful that you can do from, you know, that collaboration. You know, sometimes it's not all about finding the people that are the best at what they do. Sometimes it's simply just about finding the people that are effective in what they do, right? So literally, Steven Spielberg had the eye, John Williams had the ear. If they was able to come together and become a force, they was able to make a story together. Because at the end of the day, when we think about Jaws, who does not think about Jaws with that background song? It doesn't exist. They both have to go together. The shark has to be going up to the person in the pool, and the music has to be making that creeping sound. So with that being stated, Mr. and Mrs. Brand Owner, think about the strengths and weaknesses of your product or your service. And think about how it really adds meaning and value. Then when you go through these slew of creators, you know, that are on the Billo platform, you put in that task to put in that order, you know, to have someone create a story or create a video, you know, for your product. Literally think about how this person or persons could come into that fold and be part of that creative journey with you. You know, overall be able to bring a special part that they have together. They could be very enthusiastic. They could be really articulate. They could be, you know, very creative on the editing side. They can be whatever. Literally try to find someone or a group of people that are going to be able to mesh their yin with your yang. Because that's going to be kind of a big part altogether in the creative process, especially in the collaboration process. So overall, I hope you guys are enjoying what I'm saying so far. I wanted to show this as an example. I like to use movies as an example. So if you haven't seen the most recent Jumanji, you know, I believe this is kind of a good analogy for business brands to look at and think about. Because in the movie Jumanji, you know, every single character had different skills and different traits, but they also had different weaknesses, right? They all had to find a way to pull off the power of somebody else's ability to help them get towards the end of that journey. So literally, when you're going through the creators, like I said, it don't make it more of a transactional thing where, oh, I got a video, I got a request, I got an order, you know, boom, bam, thank you, ma'am, they made my video and I move on. No, like literally try to make it that long-term experience, but also, you know, try to make it where you can really build a relationship to know how their skills and their strengths really, you know, play into the story and pull it all together. All right, so here's the third rule: know your audience. so I you know what? So what's interesting is everybody, you know, I've been able to tune into a good bit of some of the speakers. There's some great speakers here, you know, at the Billo Summit, and you know, everybody is saying the same thing. At the end of the day, Mr. and Mrs. Brand Owner, you're hearing it from different marketers here. We're all telling you need to know your audience, you know, and I say this because I could tell you, even with some of the brands that I've worked with and some of the small business owners, even outside of Billo that I work with now, you know, sometimes Mr. and Mrs. Brand Owner, you could be a little bit set on some visions of what you would like to see do. And I get that it's because your business is your baby. But at the end of the day, you created that business, you created that product, you created that service for someone in mind. And then you got to think about that someone. You literally got to think about how you're serving them at the table. And so I pulled up a little bit of statistics here, and one in which I really laugh about. So right now, as it stands, there's more Americans on Instagram and Twitter than what we've seen watching the Super Bowl for the past 10 years. And that's pretty interesting, right? Because literally, who does not watch the Super Bowl in America, and not think about the commercials, right? The big commercials that we see from Doritos to Heineken to Budweiser, Snickers, all of that. Those commercials, as a matter of fact, I have a cousin, he's a storyboard artist, he's worked on some of the commercials, and there's millions of dollars that go into the slots for those commercials, right? Well, look at this. We're in a day and age where now the consumer is spending more time on social media than watching the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, on Instagram, the average time that people spend on Instagram is 30 minutes, and on TikTok is 51 minutes. So just kind of put that into your mind there, because if you're making these TikTok ads, or if you're not making TikTok ads, that might be a telltale sign to tell you might need to get into that. It's going to be a little bit of an investment because maybe your audience is still growing connected to it, but that's something you definitely got to think about there, all together. So here's the fourth point. And I'm trying to move as quickly as I can because of time, and I want to kind of open the window for some questions if possible. Have value in the process. Value the process altogether. As a creator, this is the mindset of a creator. Literally, a creator is someone that learns in the process, so while they're creating. And for a brand, you should be kind of in that process of thinking about what's happening. Uh-oh. Are we still there? Okay, cool. I think you guys lost me on video there. Sorry about that. So guys, overall, the brand and the creator is in the process of learning while they're creating, and you need to be in that process with them as well. Give them some creative freedom and yield to creative direction. So I play this little game from time to time. I don't know why we're having some audio video issues here, but I play this game from time to time, guys, where the ability to understand where that brand is when they're giving me direction will help me determine, what I can kind of say and do for them. And there are times where I get a brand, for example, that might give me, some suggestions on the creative side for their TikTok ad. But here's the deal. This isn't a bash, but this is a reality. I go on to TikTok, and not only can I not find your business, if I can find it and you only have 3 posts, then that kind of defeats the purpose, right? Because that's going back to what I was mentioning earlier of thinking about the audience in mind. Literally you have to have the idea of the creator, and their engagement with their audience, because I spend a lot of time, trying to understand how my audience is responding to me, and I really have gotten a little rhythm behind it. And a lot of content creators kind of follow that same process too. So there's going to have to be some times where, like I mentioned, the challenges, you own the challenges, are going to have to yield some trust to the creators out there. Definitely ask those questions, that you can when you're giving feedback. And I'm going to get into that next. Definitely ask questions on how to do, because the creative process is part of an imagination, right? But if you're not asking the questions on what exactly it takes to do something, then it's not, intriguing better thinking. It's not intriguing anything to kind of go in a different direction that could be productive in the end. And I'm going to talk about that, exercise generative learning skills, which basically means experiment. The creative thing about TikTok, Instagram, social media in general is that there's new trends, but there's always new innovators. So don't be afraid to experiment with a few things. Even if you're just still trying to figure out, your story and your brand, that's part of a creator. Creators, we go through the journey of experimenting and testing, our abilities, and a lot of times, that's when we get into a deeper understanding on what we do well. So that same thing has to go on with the brand as well, Okay, so This is the fifth principle right here. And like I said, it is giving and receiving productive feedback. So this comes from, and I don't know if you guys are seeing me or not, because I know it's kind of frozen on my end, but I'm still going to talk through it because I think you guys can still hear me. But this is an idea, a concept that comes from one of my professors, Miss Emily Ray. Really great person. Really enjoyed her class. A really great human being overall. And I put her website down on this slide here because I would encourage, especially for some of you brands that might be in the Florida area, you might want to look her up because she's really good at what she does. But she came up the rise. I think we're having some technical difficulties, guys. I do apologize, but yeah, I'm not sure here if I'm being seen because it's kind of okay. So I'm being told that you guys can hear me here. I'm just not I'm I'm just not seeing. So either way, you guys can hear me, right? So how about this? Apologize for these technical difficulties, guys. Hold on one second. I'm gonna have to because it's kind of hard to talk and I can't see what's going on my end. So hold on one second, guys. We're gonna get this together. That's the thing about technology, guys. The technology demons will always kind of make it hard. All right, so here we go. So I got my slides back up here. And okay, so hopefully you guys can now see me, see my slides and everything else. I know I seem a little sporadic. It's because I was kind of struggling to see myself. But here we go. All right, so like I was saying, this is a concept that was created by one of my professors, Miss Emily Ray. She created this model called the RISE model. And this is something that's really big because, brands, sometimes you guys do a good job with communicating with creators on what you like and what you don't like. And then sometimes you really don't do a good job, just to be brutally honest with you. And this is a model that can help you. This is a model that we use at Full Sail when we're evaluating our fellow classmates, and how they do their work. And I encourage you to use it too. Reflect, inquire, suggest, and elevate. Literally. So here's an example right here. This is some feedback that I got from a brand. This person did not know anything about Rise, but they used it. And I'm showing you guys this is the way you do it. And I'm going to tell you why this is the way you do it. Because, overall, there's a lot that a creator wants to get right. But if you don't articulate it the right way, then they're not going to correct it. So this creator says, I love it. Thank you for putting together such amazing video. Your energy and authenticity is exactly what we were hoping for. The one note to share is when the product first appears, the logo is off-centered. Is there any easy way to replace this detail? Thank you, Jasper. I hope you enjoy the mask. So here we go. So how did they reflect? I love it. Like literally, there's always something. I don't care where you are. You could be in a restaurant and the food may not be that great. But doggone it, you could find something that's good. If nothing else, they got good air conditioning, or I don't know, or it was warm. There's something you can always evaluate, and you can always appreciate something. Like literally, the person says, I love it. Thank you for putting together such an awesome video. Then we get into the inquire, suggest part, which is they actually did it together, which is really good. One note to share is when, the product appears, the logo is off center. Literally, it's good to ask a question because you got to take into the account that maybe the person didn't know. Maybe and I would be honest with you, like I make on average about 50 to 60 videos a week. And that's not a sugar-coated number. I'm going through content, and that's just on my contracted work. And I still got a YouTube channel. Subscribe, by the way, cough cough. But I still got my YouTube channel. As I told you, I'm working on my masters. I'm working on my content. I got a lot of stuff that I have going on. So don't just assume, yes, my eye can catch things, but sometimes I'm human. I miss things. So literally, I think some brands get really critical with creators, thinking we got this eye of God button in the back of our head, saying, oh God, he can see everything that's beautiful. We can see a good bit, but sometimes we can't. So literally, that's why it's good to inquire there. And then it's good to just make that suggestion, because in the end, when you elevate, he simply said thank you. But another way could be, hey, look, when you add that thing that we've inquired about and we make that suggestion, then overall we're all going to win. And that's what's really important in the end, having that ability to, win in the end there. So this is the sixth principle right here. So challenge your purpose consistently. So when I was putting this together, really, this was just more of a focus towards the brand. When you're in that process of telling your story, always kind of challenge why your story is relevant. And I mentioned earlier with knowing your audience. See, the thing is, I could tell you from the perspective of working on some of the bigger brand projects, how the brands that really are winning, that are really doing well, are doing a good job in being right in the middle of the story that their audience has. I love to talk about Apple. Like literally, Apple has the ability to always tell a story with their product, right? They always are able to say, our product has been able to help so many people achieve these great things, or we've been able to find out what this means to our customer. And you have to consistently, Mr. and Mrs. Brand Owner, kind of question and challenge that. Why is my clothing line relevant to my customer right now? Why is my supplement really relevant to my customer right now? Why is this that I'm creating really mean to my customer right now? How is it going to help them in these moments? You're going to have to always kind of be in that challenging process, because that's going to be part of what perfects the message. And I didn't have much time to put it into the slide today, but I wanted to put it in on another video that I'm going to put on my YouTube channel. So I would definitely encourage you to subscribe once again, so that you can connect with it as well and see what I'm talking about. But the idea is to focus more on lifestyle stories, because really, if you have a product that is meaningful to a customer, what you want is the customer to show different ways of how your product actually is working in their life, in their story, because the odds are there's another good segment of customers out there that can kind of relate with them naturally when you tell that story. So this is the final principle. I know it's been kind of rocky. Some of that is because of technology, but I did want to open the door for questions in the end. This is the final principle, and I actually kind of put it into a little video here. So let's see if we can play it. Look, if you got some payback you got to get on somebody, get yourself one of these, because they'll never see this coming. So personal care and hygiene for fellas should not stop once they get out the shower. They should be using Ballsy products. So I hate to bust your balls, but I gotta tell you this. They stink. The ergonomic round shave head is fantastic, and it honestly kind of felt like a massage when I was shaving it. So I gotta tell you a story. One day I just said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of living from paycheck to paycheck and clocking in at a job that's full of stress and drama that doesn't value me, or quite frankly doesn't value my skills for that matter. But say this to yourself. Scars show my past. They won't determine my future. Guys, there's no other game out there right now hotter than FIFA Mobile. I'm kind of curious to try their tobacco range soap. All of their products are natural, they're made in America, and they're animal cruelty free. IAP Career College makes your dream of becoming your own boss and pursuing the career you want a reality. Because this have fun while doing your best. Like literally, can't stress that enough, guys. Like literally, you guys as brand owners, you guys, I got to give kudos to you. I always will, because literally you took your imagination of an idea, of a product, of a service, and you made it a reality. Like literally, you gotta think about that, and I've done a good bit of projects for some brands that have some amazing stories. Like I did a video a couple weeks ago for a brand owner that made this cream that's helping muscles relax and feel soothing. And the story behind that is because his daughter had junior rheumatoid arthritis, and he wanted to not only create something that would help her but create other people like that. Like there's so many great stories that are out there. Great stories change the world. And literally, Mr. and Mrs. brand owner, sometimes you don't have to, I get it, your business is your baby, you want that image to look just right, but literally it's going to look right in the eye of the customer when it's really authentic. When you can have a content creator tell a story about something and surprise you about something that you didn't even know about your product, then that's really what the dream is. So don't be afraid to have some fun with it. I love what I do. I have a lot of fun with what I do too. As you guys don't know, I'm a ball of energy and I'm a ball of crazy sometimes, but there's a method to my madness there. So I've opened the window up for questions. I'm hoping I can see some of these questions here. I got my iPad next to me here, but if anybody has any questions, definitely shoot them my way, and I'll gladly answer what I can.